we are going to rig the dragon egg. Before we get going, I want to reiterate one very important point, that everything is frozen out. That means that it's all 0, 0, 0 all the time over here, which it is. It is not. Freeze all the things. Over here, we are good. I'm going to hit freeze, make sure the controllers. We do not freeze joints. We don't have joints yet, but we're about to have them. I'm just going to use this menu because I'm going to go to skeleton. I'm going to pop it out like that so that I have that. I'm going to go create joints. I'm going to go here. I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to click here at the hip, here at the knee, here at the ankle, here at the toe. Go to the side view. From there, I'm going to click here, move this over here. It's kind of doing this out of order, but whatever. I want to create a preferred angle on the knee so that it will extend in the right direction. And that is that. From there, I am going to create my inverse kinematic handle, which can be done here. Again, you can also get to this stuff over here in the rigging menu, but I'm just going to do it here. We're going to go create IK handle, click on the hip, click on the heel, test it, undo that. I'm going to do the same thing again. I can just hit the G key, and that should take me to IK again. I'm going to go from here to here. Now I have the toe controller that I need, and I'm good, except for the fact that I need to label all this stuff. So I'm going to label this L underscore hip, L underscore knee, underscore not dash, knee, L underscore ankle, toe, heel. Actually, ankle or heel, not toe. This is toe. L, toe. And there we go. Okay, so we have all these things labeled here. They are labeled, label. We need to label this, so we're going to call this IK underscore L underscore foot, because that's what it will control. And here, IK L underscore toe. And now from that, we are able to mirror our joints over. It's probably better to look at it either this way or this way. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on this. I do not have a middle joint yet, so I'm going to go to the front view to mirror it. I need that middle joint. It's going to mirror across. I'm going to go to create joints, but I will not have this selected or anything selected. I'm going to go here, hold down X so that I can make sure that's in the middle. I forgot to turn on my cursor highlight, but here we are. Click, click, click. Don't do that because I just created like a bunch of joints. See that? This is why we pay attention to what we're doing. Create joints. I hold down X, click one time there, and then I rename this pelvis. And then I take L hip and drag it underneath over here so that it is now hierarchically linked pelvis, hip, knee, ankle, toe. Boom. I will then decide, do I want this to move down? Because that's a little high. If I do that, though, the way that joints work is it's going to move the whole thing. So I need to have done this before I went and linked them together, but I'm doing it after. So there's that. Okay. Notice that the IK did move with it, which is kind of nice, but you do want to double check some things. You do not freeze joints. That's not how they work, so don't try it. They just don't work that way. They have their own sort of land that they live in. Okay. The other thing I want to be mindful of is that everything's lined up. So I'm going to go back over here and make sure that it is, and it looks like we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to take this joint here and I'm going to mirror it, not before I click on the square and make sure that L turns into R and it goes across the YZ plane. What's the YZ plane? It is the plane that is essentially Z and Y. So it cuts this thing in half. Click this and apply, it mirrors it over that plane, and we're good to go. And we want to double check that we have L hip, L knee, L. So this did not work right. Okay, so we have L foot, L flop, 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 flop. We got all it did was actually create. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo until it unmirrors those, which for some reason it's not. Wow, I broke it hard. Okay, sometimes Maya just loses its freaking mind, which it clearly has. Okay, so I'm going to move this back up this way, move this down this way, click here, make sure L changes to R, make sure I have L in here. I do, and here as well. When I go to L hip, I want to LR apply. It's broken. So either Maya's bugged, but we're going to go with this. Okay, so if you have this happen, and God knows why, you're going to have to go through and manually change everything. If I take something like this and I change it to R, which is this little guy up here, I can rename things. By the way, yours might be hidden behind this arrow. This might fix it. It did, and that is super, super nice. Instead of R hip, though, I don't want any of those, so I'm actually going to drop that out. Did you see how it magically did all that stuff? Except it likes to put numbers in, so I'm just going to go this route. Obviously, we've taken a turn that we didn't have to take before, so Maya is a mess right now, but there's nothing we can do about that. What I do want to make sure of, though, is that I have integrity in terms of the hips and the naming so that they work properly. And then, of course, my IK controllers are in place as well. So I have these two IK, L foot, R, L toe, but they didn't generate over here. So again, something's gone awry. This is not a bad teachable moment because what do I do about this? Well, I can force the issue, go over here and create an IK handle, and then I just have to name them, right? Because the IK should still work. I can verify that this way. I'm going to create another one from toe to knee, okay? Under normal circumstances, by the way, again, that would have, mirror joints should have renamed it. It's just something's wrong with the namespace. I think I figured out what it was. There was a space in front of R. So do you see how sensitive this tool is? Just be aware of it. That's what broke that. So anyway, but we must go the long way around. So I'm going to go ahead and go IK underscore R, not P, R underscore foot, and then IK underscore R underscore toe. Okay, and then I'm going to need to put those under some controllers. Now I can either do it from here in the outliner, or I can do it over here. I'm actually going to do it in the viewport. You can do it either way. But this R foot is going to go with this. By holding down shift, I can select this. The second thing I select is the parent. I hit the P key. That parents it that way. When I select the IKR toe, then I'm going to select the toe controller by holding down shift, hit P. Then I'm going to select this, hold down shift, select that, and I've parented the toe controller to the foot controller, which now means that when I move that, everything moves. I'm going to do second verse, same as the first. IKL foot is going to go over here by holding down shift, parent it that way. IKL toe, holding down shift, parent is going to go that way. Hold this down, hold down shift, parent it that way, and you should have a hierarchy that looks like this. Foot controller controls L foot, IK. Toe controller controls IK toe, and toe controllers be controlled by L foot controller. This is your hierarchy. Again, repeat on the other side, and you are good to go. Let's collapse this right here. So we have pelvis, right? And then we have these controllers. Pelvis should go under a controller. Now, where's the controller I want to use? I got this guy right here. It's going to go under this. I'm going to actually rename this to pelvis controller, P-E-L-V-I-S controller, and then move this underneath there. Voila. Then I have these three controllers, which I will be animating. This is all I need. I'm going to shift select these guys and drag them like this underneath the root controller, which means that's in control of everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and bind skin. Now, if I do that, I need two things. This and, right, this and the legs, or dragon legs. I use control to click because if you use shift, it selects everything, and that's a super bad thing to do right now. Do not do that. The other way to do it, by the way, is just to click here, shift click there. I know that's confusing because you're like, I use control over here, but I use shift over there. Which one is it? It's both. That's just the way it is, boys. I don't know what to tell you. So when we click back and forth like that, we get both, and then we go to bind skin. Now, where's skin? Well, it's a whole separate, you've got skeleton and you have skin. Over here, you've got bind skin, right? I'm going to click on this, and we're going to go with joint hierarchy, geodesic voxel, dual quaternion, interactive distance. By the way, if I reset all these, this was not what this default tool is set up to, and then maximum influences of 4. All of these fall off, so all the settings should be there. Okay, there you go, apply, and I should be able to move it. Now, how do I know it worked? Well, one thing, the next time you click on this mesh, you should never click it again because that's not what's going to be used to move it. What's going to be used to move it is this stuff. That's kind of the whole point. So the bones are being moved by the controllers, or the joints are being moved by the controllers, and the joints are what moves the mesh so that I can get the movement that I want out of this rig. And given the hierarchy that I've set up, I can get, this kind of effect. But as you can see, we have a problem, and that is that the egg does not is not controlled by anything. So we're going to drag the egg not under pelvis, under pelvis controller. Okay. Now, if I do that, when I move this, the egg should move with it, and that means that when I control this, I should do this. Now, do not click on the egg and start moving it around because that breaks the rig. Okay? There are other ways to mitigate that problem. We're not going to worry about them right now. Okay, we're just going to make sure that this works in a basic fashion. Okay, so there's our dancing chicken. He can jump. He can rock back and forth. And yes, of course, as we're about to do in the next exercise, he can walk. So that is our rig. Let's go over it again. You've got a root controller. I'm going to collapse that. I'm going to look at the things I'm going to be animating, which are foot controller, left foot, right foot controller, and pelvis controller. This is all I need for the walk cycle. That's it, if the rig is set up correctly. If we expand this, we have IK under that, we have IK under that, we have IK under that. Those guys are controlled by that. Then the pelvis controls the bones, which are controlled by the IK. And then the dragon egg, which is attached to the hip controller. And then the legs are sitting outside of this because they are directly influenced by the joints. And that is the way a rig works. I am done recording. I think I covered everything. There we go.